We already are in World War III. On one side, we have the Western Allies, led by the American Empire, and against them, we have the... Hello guys, my name is Joe, and I talk everything about geopolitics and macroeconomics, and today we will dive deep. Deeper than any political commentator dares to dive. Today we will not only talk about the World War III that we are currently in, but also we will try to answer the question, who is winning? Who is winning the World War III? Guys, I need to ask you a tiny little favor. Before we go any further. Please make sure to smash that like button, make sure to smash that subscribe button. It truly helps this channel grow and it pays my bills. Also, make sure to check out my blog. It is amazing, unique, original, and everything you ever wanted. And without any further delays, let's go! I was inspired to do this video because quite recently Trump has stated that he is going to continue support Ukraine, that he's going to send more weapons to Ukraine, and that he's going to prolong this war that has dragged on throughout the Biden's administration. I also revisited the video that I have already done called Trump versus Zelensky and why it does not matter at all. In that particular video, I have laid out why there is almost no difference between Trump and Biden when it comes to foreign policy. Also, it was during that time where there was this yapper in the Oval Office between Zelensky and Trump. Now, I was trying to explain in that video, to the best of my abilities at the time, why I believe that it does not matter at all, why the tiny little skirmishes between Zelensky and Trump do not matter at all, because there is a much bigger picture at play. There is a much bigger picture at play. And that brings us today. That brings us to this particular moment that we found ourselves in history. Trump does not want to send more money to Ukraine because that would contradict his campaign promises, and he does not want to disappoint his base even more after he fumbled the Epstein files. And so he wants to fund Ukraine indirectly. They have figured out that if they will say that NATO has to pay for all of it, they will get off the hook. They are hoping that they will get off the hook. The one funny part is that 50% of all the contributions, even more than that, is United States. So NATO, all of the money that goes into NATO, more than 50% is done by United States. And so already in the big beautiful bill there is an increase in the government spending on defense, and big part of that increase is increase to fund NATO, to send money to NATO. So there has always been the plan to increase support for Ukraine through NATO, which is done mainly by the United States, but also by the Europeans. And so they are trying to sell it in the media that they will basically, that Ukraine will be supported by Europe, but in reality it is supported by NATO, which is mainly supported by United States. So it's an indirect support in order to avoid the backlash from MAGA base. The more money you have, the more quote-unquote power you have. It kinda works like that. And this means that the head of NATO is very happy. The head of NATO is going to be very powerful. For those who don't know, his name is Ruta, if I'm not mistaken. And he has been so happy about this news that he has called Trump daddy. During the meeting of NATO, he has called Trump daddy. He's very pleased by the fact that United States is going to fund extra money into NATO, because this makes him kind of more powerful bureaucrat. And well, at least somebody is happy, I guess. Now let's escape the nonsense of today's headlines. Let's escape the everyday news, and let's try to zoom out. Let's try to broaden our horizons. Let's try to broaden the picture that we are looking at. Let's try to go more outside of the box. Let's go into the main point of our video. Front lines are being drawn. Front lines are being drawn. We are, like I said, we are already in World War III. It is between the Western Allies, led by the United States' empire, and against them is the Global South, led by the Russian and Chinese empire, or as we call them nowadays, superpowers. Because we have to change the terminology a little bit because it becomes offensive. So we have to call them superpowers now, okay? Superpowers. And so we have several different front lines. The World War III started by Russia invading Ukraine, obviously. And we have, that is the main front line. But we have other front lines. For example, during the 12-Day War, we had the front line between Israel and Iran, where there was a UK politician had a huge slip up where she called Israel the proxy of the Western Allies, which is obvious, and Iran the proxy of the Global South. We have other front lines which I am not 100% sure if I should talk about, but there are other front lines, like for example the one that already ceased to exist between Pakistan and India, where the United States was trying to divide BRICS, divide the Global South from within. They were trying to put India on their side, and it created a battlefield between Pakistan, which is on the side of Global South, and India, which was temporarily on the side of United States. But the problem is that they are both obviously nuclear powers. They have nuclear weapons, and so the front line was quickly ceased to exist, because you cannot have front lines between nuclear superpowers. And so this brings me to the main point, the main point of today's video. Who is winning? Who is winning the World War III? Now, guys, I may a little bit disappoint you in this one. I'm not going to give you a straight answer, but please bear with me. It is extremely important to understand the message that I'm trying to convey today. It is extremely important, but you won't get a straight answer if that's what you are looking for. You won't get this or that one. I'm sorry. I will go on a little bit of a rant, so please bear with me, guys. Now, we have to understand that in today's age, in today's society, we have countries that have nuclear weapons. And so ever since World War II, you cannot directly fight nuclear weapon countries, because it's going to be a huge disaster. Huge disaster. And so we fight something what we call proxy wars. Most of the front lines today are proxy wars, with one exception where the Ukraine and Russia front line is directly attacking one of the superpowers. And on the other side we have Western allies who are fighting through proxy. Which is obviously horrific. Huge amounts of people have lost lives, and I don't want to make a light of this. It's truly horrific what's happening. I just want to tell you what's happening so that you understand what is happening in today's world. We are fighting mainly proxy wars, and proxy wars are won in a spreadsheet. They are not won on the battlefield. They are won in a economic environment. They are won by the country that is going to end up more economically viable after the war, is ended. Now, you would think that, for example, Russia is winning in Ukraine on battlefield, and that may be true when it comes to militarily achievements being accomplished, but obviously that may not be reality in spreadsheets. That may not be economical reality, which is obviously horrific. The loss of life is absolutely horrific and appalling. But sadly, today's world is a global economy, and you have to think about everything in economic terms. For example, the Russians have to completely transfer from a peaceful economy into a war economy, and so they have to cut inside of their own budget. They had to cut, for example, money for schools. They had to, Ministry of Education had to been a little bit cut inside of the Russians' entire budget. And so during a war economies, we see more money being put into defense. And this, generally speaking, war economies are not good for a long-term outlook. Peaceful economies are much more they benefit much more throughout history. For example, during the World War II, the countries that were able to stay out of war during the World War II, like for example Switzerland or the Scandinavian countries, are right now the richest countries in Europe right now. The ones that stayed out of World War II are the richest countries, with exception of Spain, but that's because they are culturally they are a little bit lazy. But yeah, there are obviously other factors as well. It's obviously the oil in Scandinavia and the strong financial system in Switzerland, but it holds a little bit true that the countries that stay out of war are usually they are usually richer, and they have a much better outlook for the future. Is the American empire winning? That's my point that I was trying to get into. Well, look, this is probably not a secret, but we can see that inside of America, the cultural society is pretty much crumbling. There is a huge divide between those who have, the 1%ers, and those who have not, between the bottom 99%. The aristocratic class is obviously trying to divide the populace, the ones that don't have, the 99%, into two separate corners, into the libtards and Trumptards, trying to the old school divide and conquer. And it is mainly working for now, definitely. And so we definitely see cracks in the American society culturally. We also see that the American is trying to transfer from peace economy into war economy as well. They are slashing Medicaid in order to fund the defense budget, in order to fund the wars. So similarly, like Russia, they are also trying to transfer into a war economy. And so we will have to see playing this out. We cannot definitely see who is winning and if there is going to be change in world order, in the global order. I would assume it's very unlikely, but you know what they say. Rome has it. How is it? It took years to build Rome, but it was burned overnight. Somehow that's the saying, something like that. Just for the record, they are talking about the Caesar, the aristocrat Nero, who burned Rome. So that's the saying, and it kind of applies today as well. We have to see if it's going to burn the American empire or not, if the American empire is going to fully crumble or not. Now, is China winning? Well, our global economy is interconnected, hugely interconnected. I spent several videos talking about this, but the Chinese are in very bad position because they are the biggest manufacturer of the entire world, and right now the economy is slowing. As everybody entered war economies, there is less spending, the consumer is weaker and weaker and weaker, and so inside of China there is too much goods being stored because nobody wants them. There is not enough money, and they don't want. People cannot pay for as much goods, and they cannot consume as much goods, and this is huge troubles for China. Also, there are other front lines for Chinese as well for their proxy wars, and so the Chinese are definitely not in an ideal position. Their economy is crumbling, as we saw it. They had also tried to put in stimulus, as we saw it in different headlines. The Chinese economy is right now crumbling, and so we cannot definitely say that they are winning or losing, but they are definitely not in an ideal spot either. So I would love to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not go anywhere because I have a huge, big, beautiful announcement to make. Big furry announcement to make. One of our investigative journalists, Poppy Gloria, has been able to secure an interview with Bigfoot. Life-sized Bigfoot. And so make sure to check out the video on my channel. It's going to be up soon. Also, make sure to check out my blog. It is unique, amazing, and everything you ever wanted. So make sure to check it out. Also, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Make sure to check out the video here. Make sure to check out the video there and everywhere. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.